My grandfather's will had one requirement. 12 of us tried, and only one made it to the end. I was the only grandkid who still came around at the end. Not because I'm some kind of saint. I was working nights as a security guard at a building 4 blocks from his house, so I'd stop by mornings before I crashed. I'd bring him a bakery roll and we'd sit on his porch and argue about baseball. He wasn't supposed to eat the rolls. He ate them anyway and told me the doctors had never once been right about anything. The last morning I saw him, he held onto my wrist and said, "You're the only one who still shows up when there's nothing in it for you." I didn't know what to do with that. I found out 3 weeks later at the reading of his will. That room was packed with relatives I hadn't seen since I was a kid. My aunts were competing over who'd loved him most. 2 cousins were outside taking pictures of the house, already talking about square footage. Then the attorney read the condition. Grandpa's estate, the house, the machine shop he'd built from nothing, the investments, just over $4 million, would be split evenly among any beneficiary who completed one requirement: 60 consecutive days of documented volunteer work, minimum 4 hours a shift, at a service organization. Food bank, shelter, hospice, senior center, verified by a supervisor's signature. No donations in place of hours, no exceptions. The room went silent, then loud. My cousin Renata laughed out loud. My uncle asked whether writing a check to the same food bank would count, and the lawyer said no. Mr. Kessler had been extremely specific. He wanted them to give the thing he'd actually given: time. Week 1 was almost funny. Renata signed up at a food pantry and lasted 4 shifts before getting into it with a coordinator about being asked to break down cardboard. My cousin Dion picked a homeless shelter, made it 2 days, and quit because he couldn't handle the smell. My Aunt Corinne got a spot at a senior center and spent most of her first week on her phone until the volunteer director sent a letter to the attorney and she was disqualified for falsified hours. By the end of week 3, 7 of the 12 were out. By week 5, there were 3 of us left. My cousin Marcus was doing meal delivery for homebound seniors. Complained every single day, but he kept getting in that car. My aunt's husband Terrell was sorting donations at a thrift warehouse and looked worse every time I saw him. And me. I took the overnight shift at a men's shelter, which meant I'd finish my security job at 6 in the morning, go straight to the shelter, work 4 hours, then sleep from noon until my next shift. I'm not going to pretend it was noble. I was exhausted in a way I've never been before or since, but the thing nobody expects is that after a couple of weeks, it stopped being about the money. There was a man at the shelter named Ivan who'd been an electrician for 30 years before everything came apart, and he'd tell me about it while we folded cots. I started looking forward to it. They dropped one by one. Day 41, Terrell called it. His back gave out and he wasn't faking. Day 52, Marcus texted me a single line: "I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I didn't judge him." 60 days of showing up for people who can't pay you back is harder than any of them expected, and most of that family had never had to do anything difficult. Day 60, I finished my overnight shift, drove to the shelter, served breakfast, mopped the dining room I'd mopped 59 times before, and got the last signature on my sheet. The attorney was waiting by the door in his suit, holding an envelope. He said Mr. Kessler had left it for whoever finished, with instructions to deliver it in person. I opened it standing there in my work boots, still smelling like industrial soap. His handwriting was worse than I remembered. "If you're reading this, you finished, and I'd bet the house it's you. I didn't do this to punish anybody. I did it because I spent 40 years watching this family forget that everything we have came from somebody's hands and somebody's hours. You already knew. Now take care of them anyway, especially the ones who quit. That's what the money is for. Don't tell your grandmother about the rolls." I stood in the doorway of a homeless shelter and cried in front of about 9 people, none of whom seemed surprised. I still volunteer there Tuesdays, and I still bring a bakery roll out to his grave on Sundays, set it on the headstone and sit a while. I don't say much. He already knows.